Hello everyone. So in today's video, we're going to be doing a review of the Maono PM500. Now this is a large diaphragm XLR microphone, and I feel as though the best way how I can sort of demonstrate how this microphone performs is by comparing it to an alternate microphone also offered by the company Maono. So with me today as well, I also have the Maono PM422, which is a popular, I would say, flagship offering by the company Maono. So these two microphones are very different, but they do share a few things in common as well. But I will make that distinctions and comparison throughout this video. And I think one of the main things that you're going to notice in this video is that these two microphones sound great, but they also sound very different. So towards the end of this video as well, I'm going to do a detailed sound comparison between these two microphones so that you can determine which one is going to be better for your home setup. I would also like to compare things such as the build quality as well as the feature list, as they do vary with regards to these points as well. So without wasting any more time, let's get into the detailed review of the Maono PM500 and the Maono PM422. Alright, so let's start things off by going over what the different accessories are that come included with either microphone. So looking at the Maono PM500, you will see that it comes with a little table stand here. It's a very solid stand. The base is made out of a very sturdy metal, and basically the weight of this metal prevents any vibration from traveling from the base and getting into the microphone. So it sort of reduces any vibration noises that might interfere with your microphone audio. And in addition to this, connected to this metal base, you'll see that there is a very nice telescoping pole. And the way how you would extend this is by unscrewing the knob that's here, and it'll give you the ability to extend and to lower the microphone based on your height. In addition to this, you will see that there is also a very nice shock mount, which kind of serves in a similar way as the solid base. It helps to dampen any vibration that might make it to the microphone, and in doing this, it's going to allow you to prevent the vibrations from interfering with your audio. Now, what I do like about this microphone compared to the Maono PM422 is that it has a very stylish looking pop filter that's here. It's made out of metal. It does feature some of Maono's branding on it as well, and I feel as though it gives an overall better look to the microphone itself. Now, this microphone is an XLR microphone, as I did mention earlier, so it does come with an XLR cable. Now, one of the, I wouldn't really call it a downfall, but one of the things to keep in mind if you do decide to go with the PM500 is that you will need some type of way to power the microphone with 48 volts worth of phantom power. So in my case, I'm going to be using an audio interface. If you can find a mixing board that also has the 48 volts worth of phantom power, you can also use that as well. So basically, you're going to have to spend a little bit more money if you want to get the PM500, because there's extra accessories that you would have to purchase in order to use it. Now, going over to the Maono PM422, the accessory list is going to be very similar to that of the PM500. However, the accessories do look a little bit different. For me personally, I do prefer some of the accessories on the PM500 because they look better, but there are some advantages to the PM422 bundle. So let's just start off with the pop filter that it comes with. So here, this pop filter is a little bit bigger, or shall I say much bigger than the one that comes included with the PM500. So this one has a bit of an accordion arm, and this one is designed to be used with the scissor arm stand that also comes included with the Maono PM422. So when it comes to setting up the Maono PM422, I prefer the method of using the scissor arm stand because it helps to free up some of the space on your desk. Whereas with the Maono PM500, it does take up some space, so you need to take that into consideration when you are building your home microphone setup. So having this even gives you the ability to sort of position the microphone in a better spot when compared to the stand of the Maono PM500. So I do like that it does come with this accessory as well. Now, very similar to the pop filter, as I mentioned before, this also does come with a foam filter in addition to the pop filter. So basically they do behave in the same way, but if you were to compare the foam filter or the pop filter that comes with the Maono PM422 to the pop filter of the PM500, I feel as though you'll probably find that this one looks a little bit more modern and clean. So if aesthetics is important to you, then maybe going with the PM500 is going to be the better option for that. And very similar to the PM500, the PM422 also comes with a shock mount as well, which is going to help you to absorb some of those vibrations. So when comparing these two accessory lists, you can tell that they're very, very similar. They do the job well, but in terms of how they look aesthetically, they're quite different. So based on this information, you should be able to determine which microphone is going to be better for you. Now, let's talk about the overall build quality for either microphone. So when looking at the Maono PM422, as I did mention in the previous video, this microphone has a very solid build quality. It's made out of metal, the chassis all the way going to the cage which protects the sound capsule. So this microphone also has some weight to it. So when you do feel it, you are going to be getting that premium sort of feel when you do handle this microphone. So which is a very, very good plus. And this is something to also be expected, especially at the price point at which this microphone comes in at. Now, when looking at the Maono PM500, it's no different. The build quality is phenomenal. It has a metal base, it has a metal cage as well. But I would say that the main difference is that I kind of like the more rectangular retro look that comes with the Maono PM500. And what I do like as well is that they have designed it in a way so that you are going to be able to see the sound capsule that is on the inside. And as I mentioned earlier, this is a large diaphragm XLR microphone, which means that the sound capsule is going to be bigger than the sound capsule that comes with the Maono PM422. Does this result in overall better sound quality? Well, once again, we'll be able to determine that when we do get to the sound test portion of this video. But with regards to the build quality, I think in either case, you're going to be getting a greatly built microphone in either case, whether you go with the Maono PM422 or the Maono PM500. Alright, so let's compare these two microphones in terms of the different features that they offer. So I think straight out of the box, the Maono PM422 is going to be the more feature-rich microphone, but I will explain. So looking at the front fascia, you will see that there is a very nice convenient gain knob, which helps you to adjust the microphone levels. If you feel as though it is too high or too low, it sort of prevents you from going into your computer system in order to make the adjustments there. There's a very nice mute button that is touch sensitive, so you tap it to activate it and you tap it again to disactivate the mute function. Thirdly, there is also a 3.5mm jack that is at the bottom here, which allows you to connect a set of headphones, and this allows you to do live monitoring for your microphone so that you can actively hear yourself without any delays while you are recording, which is a very, very important feature. In addition to this, you can also use this port as a means of hearing the playback that is on your computer, whether that is for gaming or if you're watching any type of content. So again, straight out of the box, all of these features are built into the Maono PM422. Now, looking at the Maono PM500, you'll see that there aren't any buttons or pads on it. It's just the microphone. Well, does this mean that it doesn't have any features? No, it just means that it is going to be limited by the audio interface or the type of mixing board that you decide to use with this microphone. So as mentioned before, this is an XLR microphone, so you would connect this to, let's just say, an audio interface, and in my case, I'm using the Focusrite 2i2 3rd generation, and I'm able to do things like live monitoring. I can hear the playback on my computer. I have an air button that can affect the EQ levels for this microphone. So these features aren't built into the microphone itself, but you have access to them through the mixing board or the audio interface that you decide to use. So in terms of features, it's going to be a little bit more flexible with the Maono PM500, but in terms of everything that's built into the microphone itself, I think the better option is going to be the PM422, especially if you are on a budget, because some of these audio interfaces can get pretty expensive. So at least there is an all built-in option that you can go with in the Maono PM422. But if you have the extra money, then I would probably go with the PM500. Also, it's important to remember as well that the Maono PM500, one of its main selling points is the fact that it has a larger diaphragm. So this one has a diaphragm that is 34 millimeters in diameter, and the Maono PM422 has a diameter that is 16 millimeters. So this is a nice segue to the next portion of this video. Does having a larger diaphragm result in a better sound? So let's get these two microphones hooked up so that we can move forward with the sound test. Alright, so I have the Maono PM500 set up here, as well as the Maono PM422 just set up here, just outside of the frame of the camera. And setting up the PM422 again was very straightforward. This is a USB based microphone, so setting it up involved me just plugging it into a USB port on my PC. For the Maono PM500, it's an XLR base, so I took the XLR cable that came included in the microphone bundle and I just plugged it into the input of my audio interface. For the first part of the sound test, I just want to test the noise floor, or how much background noise is going to be picked up by both of these microphones. Both of these microphones are condenser in nature, and they are also cardioid, which means that they are designed to pick up sound in front of the microphone versus behind it. Okay, so let me just start off with the PM422 by switching over the input here in Audacity. And just to make this fair, let me just position this microphone right next to the PM500. Okay, so visually here, you can see that it is picking up some noise, but this is probably going to be due once again to the fan noise that's coming from my PC, as well as the fan noise coming from my lighting. Okay, so there's that. So now let's switch over the input over to the PM500, which is connected to my Focusrite audio interface. All right, so visually it would seem as though we have kind of the same levels of background noise that is being picked up by both of these microphones. Mind you, if this was a sound treated room, I'm pretty sure that those levels would be even lower. So I wouldn't be too worried in either case, as you are also going to hear firsthand and for yourself how both of these microphones sound while we are recording. So for the first sound test, I'm also going to indicate when I'm going to be using either microphone. So if I'm using the PM500, I will indicate that. And if I'm using the PM422, I will also indicate that as well. For the time being, as you are hearing me right now, it is through my lavalier microphone here. But let's start off by using the Maono PM422, okay? And let's do the sound test just like that. Now for both of these, I'm going to set the gain, probably going to set the gain on, for the PM422 to probably around 50%. Okay, I think that should be relatively fair. And then let me also adjust the gain, just so that's going to be fair on the PM500. So it kind of reaches, okay, so we're hitting about the negative 24 decibels. And then when I switch over to the PM422, we are hitting about, okay, a little over 24 decibels. So let me just lower that by a little bit. So I would call this maybe 70% in terms of gain. All right, so that should be fair. And I want to try to make sure that the positioning is going to be the same for both microphones as well. So let's go ahead to do the recording using the Maono PM422. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. This is a sound test using the Maono PM422. Currently, I have the microphone connected to my PC via USB. I am positioned roughly 6 inches away from the microphone, and I am using the included pop filter that came with the microphone bundle. And the whole point of this sound test is that I want to compare this microphone, which has a smaller diaphragm, to the larger diaphragm microphone coming from the Maono PM500. So this is going to be a very quick example as to how this microphone would sound, the Maono PM422, under these types of conditions. Alright, okay, so this was the first sound test using the smaller diaphragm microphone, the Maono PM422. Now let's switch over to the Maono PM500. Now, as I mentioned before, my audio interface has an air feature, which essentially changes the EQ settings for whatever XLR microphone is being connected to the audio interface. So I'm going to turn that off for now, and then I'm going to turn it on afterwards so that you can hear the difference in how it might make the microphone sound. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. This is a sound test using the Maono PM500, and right now I am positioned roughly 6 inches away from the microphone, and I am currently also using the pop filter that came included with the microphone bundle. So hopefully by now you will be able to hear the sound difference coming from the Maono PM500 versus the Maono PM422. When I did my own sound test earlier, I did notice that the PM500 was a little bit more bassy, and it gave a little bit more of a radio sound, which I think would be more in line for someone who is working on a podcast. And I feel as though the PM422 is a little bit brighter in terms of how it sounds. But let me just head on over to my audio interface and turn on the air function, which will adjust the EQ for the PM500 that it is connected to. Alright, so right now I am using the same settings. I am connected to the Focusrite 2i2, but I have the air function set to on, which means that the higher portion of the sound, of the EQ, is going to be a little bit brighter, and hopefully you can also hear the difference. Maybe this might make the microphone sound a little bit more on par when compared to the brighter sounding Maono PM422. So this is the sound test. Hopefully this is going to be useful for you to sort of determine what is going to be better for your home setup. Every single microphone has a different sound, but it's also important for you to factor in the fact that everyone's voice also sounds different. So I feel as though if you want to start a podcast, or maybe even do a bit of voiceover work, maybe a little bit of singing too, I guess you can probably go for the PM500. But bear in mind that the overall setup is going to be a little more pricey, because you do have to invest in an audio interface or some type of mixing board that is going to provide 48 volts worth of phantom power to the XLR microphone. Whereas the Maono PM422 is going to be cheaper than the PM500. It also comes with pretty much the same accessories that the PM500 comes with, but everything is going to be included at a lower price. So which one should you pick? It's going to be dependent on what you are using it for. So for me, if I'm doing voiceover work, if I'm doing a podcast, I'm probably going to lean over to that more radio sounding PM500. But for anything outside of that, I think the brighter sounding Maono PM422 might be better for your setup. But again, all of this is just preference. For me, I tend to prefer that sort of bassier sound that's being produced by the PM500. So hopefully you found this video to be useful. And if you enjoyed it, just like in the other videos, please consider hitting the like as well as the subscribe button, as this helps the channel to grow overall. And it will also allow you to watch more content such as this if you do enjoy it. And with that being said, I just would like to say thank you for watching. And I hope to see you at the next video. And also, if there's anything maybe that I missed, please consider dropping your comments down below, as I do enjoy hearing from you, the viewers. So thank you once again for watching, and hopefully I will see you at the next video. So take care for now.